And he was invited by one of the physicians to have lunch with him and said, "This is wonderful. If I wanted to have lunch, this would be a terrific place." And was told, "No, you can't because you're Jewish."
I swear, she would throw candy right out that window to
Oh
us.
my goodness.
She would throw candy right out the window to us.
My early years, I was born in New Bedford, and I lived in New Bedford until halfway through the first grade. I went to the Thomas R. Rodman School in New Bedford for the first half of first grade, and then at that point, we moved to Dartmouth because the city of New Bedford was by eminent domain. They were taking a lot of properties in order to build what is now the West Lawn Housing Project over by the New Bedford Boys Club.
So my dad worked at night shift at Chamberlain Manufacturing. And he, before we arrived, he had, it was very difficult for him, for anyone to rent a house for someone with 7 children. And so we were going to be arriving. So he rented a house on Water Street in the south end of New Bedford. And what happened is 6 months before we arrived, he got home from work and was during the racial riots, and the house got burnt down. So everything that he had furnished the house, it was all got burnt down. So when he got home from work at 2:00 in the morning, he saw a fire, and it was just the house got burnt down. So what happened is he had to find an apartment that would rent to him with 7 children that my mom and us would be arriving. So
as far as I was concerned, this is what life was like. People were Portuguese. Yeah, I had friends who are Irish, and I had friends who were Polish, French Canadian, but most people were Portuguese. So I grew up in an area where Portuguese-ness was the norm.
And he spoke Creole. That was the first language that he learned. And the same for my mother. They spoke Creole in the house. And they try to teach the children, us, Creole, but the time that I grew up, it was frowned upon, down upon, to speak another language.
My mother, Emilia Moraes, who was born in Yonkers and whose family returned to the Portuguese mainland during the Depression, was a father singer. She returned to the United States in 1945 and worked in the mills, as a lot of the immigrants did, and slowly started building her singing career as a fadista, the term that is used for a woman who sings fado in Portuguese.
What's your story? Share with us at commongroundmosaic.org.